When I met my husband, it was already 8 years after 74. I met him in 1982. So all his bad experiences, I wasn't there during what happened. His house and his place and his garden and his land is exactly where the troops landed, the Turkish troops landed in 74 on 20th of July. He was the first to see the first soldiers coming out. His family, parents and sister are missing since then. He must have been traumatized, of course. It did affect me a lot in this life. My husband's story and the way he managed to overcome, the way he managed to survive after all that disaster. I admire him for this. There are times that I feel a nostalgia. Nostalgia is a Greek word, nostos, which means a country, patrida, alogos or ponos, the pain of your homeland. It's always there. Sometimes when I take flowers and I throw in the water for my mother-in-law, it's a way of communicating with her. The meaning of music in my life has been like an oxygen mask, like the pilot, on the plane. When the pilot drops the oxygen masks and asks to wait, it was my oxygen mask. I was very pleased and very happy that I sang all over the island, from Karpas to Paphos, from Morphou to Larnaca, to Famagusta, to Limassol, to Lefkosia, to Pyrgos Tilirkas, to Limnidis, Vouni, Soli, Salami, everywhere. I sing when I go to Bendemili. Έλα μαζί μου κάπου να πάμε χέρι με χέρι. Sometimes I sing to my sister-in-law. What made me join the bicommunal activities was an invitation by the Fulbright Commission of Cyprus when I returned back from a program, a postgraduate year in the States in conflict management. And I was invited to attend a conflict resolution program that would be offered by the Fulbright here. And my first reaction was, I don't want to meet with Turks. Like homeland, no. And then I said, out of curiosity, I will go. And because I was already trained in conflict resolution, I was ready to get into the work. So I started facilitating groups by myself. I was 3 times a week in this very hotel here, Lidra Palace, plus the weekends, because there were so many people in the 90s, early 90s, who wanted to meet. And it was difficult at the time. We had to get special permission by the authorities in the north.
Yurdunu sevmeliymiş insan, yurdunu sevmeliymiş insan. Öyle diyor hep babam. Öyle diyor hep babam. Benim yurdunu ikiye bölünmüş ordasından. Benim yurdunum ikiye bölünmüş ordasından. Hangi yarısını sevmeli insan?
So I was involved in many groups. A lot of people were coming asking to meet, different professions, women's group, youth. A choir was formed, which I believed very much in.
All I know is that we should be able to have a solution after so many years of unnecessary fighting, intercommunal fighting. I do not appreciate people raising generations after generations believing that they are each other's enemies. There's no such thing. So I have been devoting the past 20 years of my career life here in the island in order to achieve that ideal solution and to bring peace. I don't believe that Cypriot kids should be confined to only one half of the island. For me, that's claustrophobic. That's unacceptable. I do not accept myself being stuck within the peripheries of only half of the geography of this island. For me, that's unacceptable. No matter what the political realities on the ground are, I, as an individual, as a Cypriot, refuse to live my life only within any given sectoral part, geographic area of this island. Therefore, I wanted to have a bicommunal child who would be free to live, to go to school, to experience both sides, both communities, and all cultures that coexist on this island. For me, this is what I mean by bicommunality. This is what I mean by having a bicommunal child. I was lucky enough to have Olivia in my life. This child who came into being in 2017 and whom I decided to give 2 names. One name, Shule, coming from my beloved late grandmother who raised me, and it was an appreciation of my gratitude for her raising me the way I am, so open-minded and as a woman, as a modern Cypriot woman. And the second name, Olivia, for me, it has huge symbolism. I chose that name on my own. I had to choose it on my own because Olivia's father decided to part his ways with me at the beginning of my pregnancy. He told me that he cannot assume this responsibility. He's not interested in assuming the responsibility of having a child. And I took the decision to continue the journey on my own. And as a result, I had to choose the child's name on my own as well. It was the first of many more decisions that were to come that I had to make on my own. Olivia ended up being my choice. Why? Because Olivia is a Latin word that means symbol of peace. So for me, this child was going to be the symbol of peace. I wanted to raise this child to be a symbol of peace for this island.
I met Olivia when she was 7 weeks old.
But unfortunately, a month after she was born, she was diagnosed with congenital bilateral cataracts, which made things a bit complicated because a series of genetic tests had to be done to find out why the child was born with this genetic disease. Nothing could be found on either side of the family. However, at the same time, she was also diagnosed with another issue in her kidneys. So we ended up being hospitalized. When we were at the hospital, it was the very first day. She was only a month old. I received this text message from this Greek Cypriot lady
saying I would like to send a gift for the newborn,
whom I had only seen a few times in my whole life up until then. We were Facebook friends, but nothing else. No blood relation, no other connection.
She replied to me that the baby was at the hospital in Makarion, in the south, and I was really worried. I asked why. She said there is an infection, they are investigating, So I rushed the same day to the hospital.
And she said, hospital? Why? Okay. Next thing I know, she was there at the hospital. Literally within an hour, this random person just came to our hospital room to deliver her gift in person. And that was it. She literally walked into our lives that way, that day, and she never left.
And they were in a room with 3-4 other babies. So I asked the head doctor in the evening if they could give them a single room because of the age of the baby and the sensitivity. And by the next morning, they were moved to a single room, and they stayed for almost 2 weeks, 10 days or something. I used to visit every day, and I admire the courage of the mother with all that was happening.
Her veins were so little, they were so fragile that they kept breaking. So they tried from here, they couldn't manage. They tried here, couldn't manage. Here, no. The feet, they made 6 different trials, they couldn't manage. I was literally on the floor crying. I was fragile myself, and they took the baby finally away from me to give it one final trial. And I couldn't handle it. Katie was there trying to calm me down. When the baby came back, her head was full of these head bandages because the only other place they could find a place to enter was through her head. And I was so weak. I didn't know how to handle this, and Katie was there. She was calming me down as if she was my mother or she was my Bethera, my mother-in-law. She was there. So from that day, from that time, I felt this natural closeness to that woman.
I felt very attached to Olivia because at some point, the nurses would come in and out all the time, taking the baby to put injections, and sometimes I helped the mother. I used to carry the baby. I carried the baby to the nurses. So at some point, one nurse asked me, "What are you to the baby?" I don't know what came to me at that moment. And I said, "I'm the grandmother, είμαι η γιαγιά." And she said, "Oh, you speak fluently Greek." So, εντάξει, γιαγιά Katie, that's how Olivia knows me. And when she had her school event, the last day at school, the school celebration last June, she introduced me to her friends. Η γιαγιά μου, η γιαγιά Katie. Sometimes ties are stronger than biological ones.
And she said that, you know what, I'm going to be this child's yaya. I'm going to be her grandmother and I'm not going to leave her. And she kept her promise. To this day, she never left us. Basically, long story short, for us, Katie is this angel on earth, literally.
La 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 la.
We do a lot of things together. I mean, we do anything that grandmothers and granddaughters would do together, going to the park, walking bare feet. We don't want anyone to know about this. We shout sometimes. She says to me, "Να φωνάξουμε, shall we scream?" And I said, yes. So she takes a tone and then I go 1/3 above and we play with our voices. We do shopping, we go shopping. We buy food stuff from bakeries, from supermarket. We fight, we have our differences, and sometimes we solve them not in a very peaceful way. But then, of course, someone compromises, or we both compromise, and it's beautiful. Αγιάκ, αυτή είναι η μύτη της γιαγιάς. Γιαγιά, και αυτή είναι η μύτη της Ολίβιας. Και αυτά είναι τα χειλάκια της Ολίβιας. Και αυτά είναι τα ματάκια της Ολίβιας. Precious eyes. Ήρθες για να δεις τον κόσμο, Ολίβια, και θα τον δεις. Ναι. Μας ακούτε? Εδώ είναι η γιαγιά και η Ολίβια. Η Ολίβια και η γιαγιά βλέπουν τον κόσμο.
To every single doctor's visit, she's there. To every single lesson that I take Olivia to, she knows where is the lesson. If I cannot pick her up, she's there to help me. She's my substitute. She is everybody at her kindergarten, in the private lessons that I take her. All the teachers, they know that the child has a grandmother, and that's Yaya Keti. The other night, Olivia had fever, and I freaked out. I thought that I had to take her over to her doctor, and her pediatrician is a Greek Cypriot. So I need to cross middle of the night. We had a curfew at midnight. I didn't know how to handle it. Immediately, I called Katie. I decided I couldn't reach the Greek Cypriot pediatrician, so I decided to take her to the Turkish Cypriot pediatrician. Katie just came over from the crossing point, and I asked her, there's curfew. How did you manage to come over to this side at this time? I told them, Birinci, Mayangoni, sick, πάω, bye-bye. So she just, even the policemen, I mean, they know her. Everybody loves her. And she's a common face, and they know that she has a granddaughter on the other side of the divide, and they let her cross because they know that at the end of the day it's a humanitarian issue.
Happy birthday, dear Olivia. Happy birthday to you.
Make a wish. Make a wish. A wish. A wish.
1, 2, 3. Μαζί.
Μπράβο σας!
She speaks fluently in 3 languages, so we agreed that she talks to me in Turkish, I replied in Greek, so we both practice. She corrects me if I dare to speak in Turkish. And we have English as a 3rd language that we both can communicate in.
Φάγε με, λέει το γλυκό. Τινό πολύ σκέφτηκε η Αλίκη να έφαγε το γλυκό. Η Αλίκη άρχισε να νιώθει περίεργα. Τι μου συμβαίνει, αναρωτήθηκε. Και τότε κατάλαβε ότι μεγάλωσε, αφού έφαγε το γλυκό. Είμαι μεγαλύτερη από το δωμάτιο, σκέφτηκε. Ξαφνικά εμφανίστηκε μπροστά της το κουνέλι, το οποίο άρχισε να φωνάζει. Φύγε από το σπίτι μου γρήγορα, μου κλείνεις την είσοδο.
So I'm raising Olivia in such a way that she knows about Easter, that she knows about Christmas, she knows about Bayram, she knows about the cultures and traditions of both sides. So she gets super excited when Bayram comes and she's gonna go to kiss the hand of her grandpa Kufi. But at the same time, she's super excited if it's Easter coming up and she's gonna go over to Yaya Keti's house to crack the eggs and to see who's gonna win. I'm telling her that Christmas is coming up, so she's super excited because she's gonna be decorating a Christmas tree here in our house, and then another Christmas tree at Yaya Keti's house. We spend Christmases and Paschas, Easters together. We are the uninvited but natural element of the family. At Keti's house, Keti also has a mother, Yaya Maro, that Olivia loves playing with. And she has an assistant from Nepal that Olivia is best friends with. And Yaya Keti also has a sister, Effie, Aunt Effie. And Aunt Effie is also in love with Olivia. So it's this whole family that have opened their home to Olivia. And all of them, it's not just Keti, but the whole family who are mobilized around this child. And it's like their joie de vivre. The whole family loves receiving this kid. If she doesn't spend a single, at least one afternoon every week in that family, they get upset. Sometimes my friends say, but isn't the child a burden for Yaya Keti? No, Yaya Keti is begging me to have the child because she is like the sunshine of their house. They're so happy with her. And Olivia, she gets very upset and cranky if she doesn't go over to Yaya Keti's house where she feels so much at home. Whenever she goes, it's full of toys, new everything for Olivia. It's like she is an essential part of that family.
Look at silly Mrs. Yaya Keti, who's silly and cute.
She looks silly and cute. That's me. Hello, everybody. Bye-bye. And this is Olivia. She's a great girl. Bye-bye.
Yeah, don't forget that I'm not just one generation backwards. I'm 2 generations backwards. So it's not easy to explain these things to a kid, what happened and why.
God knows what kind of feelings he had suppressed deep inside him. Because he lost his whole family. That's deep. That's deep. But now, after so many generations, those wounds never close. But at least they can heal to a certain extent. And that takes some courage, that takes some effort. And I'm so proud to see Katie and her husband as well, whom Olivia calls Papu Panikos. They're making an effort. This family is making an effort. They're not forgetting their history. Katie just crossed over the other day and she saw their property being dug into some more construction with bulldozers, and she posted on Facebook about her frustration. But this does not prevent her from having hopes about a better future. Those people who are stuck living in their past, they should be the first ones to wake up, to open up their eyes and to see that if such a wounded family, who are the first ones to lose their whole family on the morning of the 20th of July 1974, they can see hope in the eyes of a child from a Turkish Cypriot family, being raised in the middle of a Turkish Cypriot family. If they can see that hope in the eyes of such a child, and if they can devote their whole time, their energy, their efforts, and they can find their joie de vivre, their joy of life in such a child, in raising such a child, so that that child grows up being the ultimate true Cypriot, then anyone can do this.